Hi, I'm Mathieu from Ludovox, and we are at Essen Spiel 2016 with Asger. Hi, Asger.
Hi, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. So you're the designer of Flamme Rouge, and it is a game published at Lautapelit.
Yes, it's a racing game with a cycling theme, and you're French, so you know that Flamme Rouge means the red flame or the red triangle at the end of all cycling stages.
Exactly, and especially in the Tour de France. And I think it's a game for 2 to 4 players, ages 8 and up, because you told me, and it plays in around 40 minutes, right?
30 to 45 minutes, yes.
So, are we racers and cyclists trying to go to the end of the race first?
We control a team of 2 riders, and these 2 riders have to work together. Cycling is a team sport, so you have to try to get them to work together, and if you do that well, you can maybe cross the finish line first. Of course, sometimes one of your riders will be really exhausted trying to help the other one, but that doesn't matter as long as you win.
So, do we need to be the first? Do we need to have one guy finish first, or the 2 of them?
The winner of the game is the person who gets one guy across the finish line first. If 2 cross in the same turn, it's whoever gets the furthest that wins. But you win by just being the first. But of course, I recommend that you also play for second or third. And of course, you can also, since you have 2 riders, if you play really well, you can win both first and second with your team.
Okay, and how do we play?
Okay, the core of the game is that you have these 2 riders, a rouleur and a sprinter, right? And there's an R and an S on these cards. Each of the riders have their own set of energy cards. It's the 15 cards with numbers on that they need to use and spend to get through the race. Each turn, they'll be taking 4 cards from one of their decks. They'll be playing one of them, and they'll be moving that number of squares forward. The card that they're using is never coming back. Once you spend energy, it goes away. Okay? They have the 2 decks have 15 cards, both of them, but they have different distribution. The sprinter has a 9. That's the top speed. It's the highest card in the game. But the sprinter also has the 2. That's the lowest card in the game. So the rouleur has a higher average speed, but the sprinter the highest top speed. Otherwise, their rules are the same. They don't function differently, but their decks are balanced differently.
So you mentioned that the rouleur and sprinter could help each other.
Yes.
How so?
Let's take an example. I'll just quickly show it here. What you do in your turn is you either take your sprinter or your rouleur, and you take the 4 top cards of the deck. Okay? You look at them in secret, or you can also see it now, and you take one of them and you play it down here. Everyone else around the table is doing the same. The 3 cards you're not using is the energy you're saving for later. So these cards you put face up at the bottom of your deck. They'll come back later. Then you look at the other one. You cannot look at all 8 cards. You have to look at one at a time. Then you can look at the 4 here. You look, you pick a card, and you play it. Once everyone around the table has played 2 cards, we take the cards and we go 1, 2, 3, and we flip them. Okay? Then we move the rider in the front first, and he will be going 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then the sprinter will be going 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These cards then leave the game. And this is how you can help each other, which was your question. Because now, you can see here, there's exactly 1 space between the 2 groups. It means there's slipstreaming or drafting. So this guy moves 1 square up for free. So if you ride your riders correctly, they can get a lot of extra movement for free. That extra movement can be the difference when you hit the finish line at the end.
Okay, and what happens if, for example, let's imagine I have to move this guy here and I cannot. Can I just cross?
You can cross, yeah. You can cross, that's not a problem. If you're here though, and you're going 3, 1, 2, 3, then you would only get to go there. So they can't fill the spaces, but you can cross if you're going faster. And if these guys are now slipstreaming, they all go up. Okay? Not just this guy, all of them, the whole group. All of the, even though there are 2 side by side, we should imagine that this rider is in the middle of the road helping them along. Okay? What's even better is that if the riders are like this, we do slipstreaming from the backmost rider first. So we move 1, and then these guys move again. And then these guys move again. Okay?
That's clever.
It's cycling. If you don't break away from the peloton, then at the end of a round, they will all come up together again and be one unit again.
So, are you a cyclist? Is this why you designed this game?
I bike every day, yes, but it's more for getting around than it's on a sports bike. I live in Copenhagen. It's a very flat city, and it's one of the best bike cities in the world. So I bike everywhere, but not race biking.
So, where did the idea of the game come from? Why design a game about cycling?
Have you played Dominion?
Yes.
Okay. In Dominion, you do deck building, but you can also do deck thinning. If you buy the chapel, right, that card will allow you to take cards out of your deck. What is happening here is that each turn you're taking one card out of your deck, and then if you're not playing well, if you're stuck in front, which is the second part after slipstreaming, is that you will get an exhaustion card. So now my rouleur, he's carrying the weight of the others, so he's getting a rouleur exhaustion card into his deck. These are just twos, all of them are twos, so we'll put it into the bottom of his deck. So eventually, like in Dominion and Curses, they'll come into your hand and fill up your hand. You don't have to play them, but they're not helping you. Okay? So that's the inspiration. Dominion. You wouldn't think so.
Yeah, you would never think of Dominion when you see cyclists.
Dominion is a game about combos, making big combos and make them work. And if you can do that right, you can get a lot of points and you can buy the victory points and you can win the game. But it's also a game about controlling your deck. This is a game about controlling two decks. Very streamlined decks, there's just numbers on there. You can make small combos, like making sure your riders are helping each other. It's a small combo, right? But you need to balance the act of doing it with two riders each turn and getting it right. And Dominion, where it's bigger things happening, combos happening, here it is incremental small bonuses, incremental small penalties, so all adding up to make sure that we have a winner at the end, that is the one who has played the best. Of course, there's a lot of guessing what everyone else is doing as well.
Yeah, you want to stay in the peloton as much as possible, then make a big breakthrough, but you don't want to exhaust too much doing so.
Exactly. Yeah, you got it. And of course, as I mentioned, there are 6 different stages pre-built, but you can also make your own. And if you do play with the mountains, there are basically very few extra rolls. If you enter a red square or start in one, or ever touch one, you can only move 5 spaces. So if you can play a higher card, but you'll only move 5. And there's no slipstreaming, so groups break apart. When they break apart, there's also more exhaustion coming in because they're not close together. And in the descents, when you go downhill, your card is always minimum 5 if you start your turn on it. So you can play the exhaustion or 2 or another card, and you can still go a good speed.
So have you got any new upcoming designs that come maybe from Dominion, or I'm wondering what you do of Risk if you do this out of Dominion?
Yes. We released 13 Days earlier this year with my co-designer Daniel, which is a game based on Twilight Struggle, but takes the whole game and puts it into a 30-45 minutes experience instead of the 3-hour, 4-hour experience Twilight Struggle normally is. It's going very well with that. We've got a few other games that are only in the Danish market, 2 other games that are just out in the Danish market. And between now and next Essen, we've got, between the co-designer and me, 7 games coming for Essen. We also sold 3 more on the fair, so hopefully one of them is at least 2018. Maybe some of them will be at the next Essen.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Asger, for that overview of Flamme Rouge, and see you on the Vox. Bye.
Goodbye.
Taram,